All right, next voicemail comes from
Hey, Mover, Gonky, and Wombat. Love your guys' show.
a little low, but
AVH3 back here, CV62, USS Independence.
oh wow.
I did a lot of Cat 3 shooting on the flight deck, seeing the same pilots day after day. I had my favorite pilots that I like to work with. Used to talk to them. I know you could only use hand signals and stuff, but I would always say hi to them whenever I saw them. And I was just wondering if you guys ever had your favorite directors you like to work with, if you had one that stood out over another one. My favorite was Undra Cheever, lieutenant at the time, but who is now rear admiral. Last time I checked, he was on the East Coast.
Wow.
He's the admiral of the base out there. I forget which one, but anyway, he was my
That's
favorite
awesome.
pilot. Just wondering if you guys had a favorite director you like to work with, or if any of them stood out to you. Anyway, take care. I love you guys' show.
Well, thank you for the message. That's awesome. And Gonky, this is almost 100% your wheelhouse. Although I've had favorite crew chiefs, and I mean, especially in a guard reserve squadron where you see everybody and there's no real turnover, you really make friendships. And that's why I talked about always make friends with maintenance, because they remember and they'll help you out in general. And like I said, I did my Finney flight and, they all saluted, and that's probably one of the highlights of my career. But Gonky, this is more of a Navy question, because half those words I didn't understand.
I know Undra actually very well. I mean, we actually went through the RAG together. He was getting recalled as a skipper. And so we did all the boat together, and he was actually the skipper, XO and skipper of our sister squadron. So yeah, I know Undra, and he's got quite the personality. Not much of a fan of my call sign. And yeah, I have my favorite directors. I think I think a lot of it was probably, I don't know. I used to be kind of a meathead, and I was the pilot that was always bringing like snacks and food in the plane with me. So like all the plane captains and directors and stuff would always get a kick out of me, stuffing my chicken dinner in the windscreen, stuff like that. But I can't remember any of their names, man. It's been 15, 16 years ago on the Stennis, but
I don't want to dox anybody, like throwing names around.
Yeah, you're right. I can't remember.
Although that sounds like I can't remember, but James Jim, he was the crew chief on my Acadiana flight and on my Finney flight in the F-16, and one of my favorite crew chiefs. Just a great dude. It was always, and I'll tell anybody that's wanting to do this job, get to know your maintainers.
Yeah.
Spend some time, get to know their names, learn their first name. It doesn't hurt anything.
Here with the directors. So this guy was a director on the carrier. So the big thing, and this is a big difference between Air Force and Navy. And I even had the Air Force crew chiefs comment to me. They're like, yeah, we can tell you're a Navy guy because you listen to us. So in the Navy, you do. I remember.
Director, even on the ground at Strike Fatron 204. I remember I was so confused because what was it? One of the guys, I think it was Buzzmaster. He just ignored, taxied.
No.
And I was like, okay, he got in a lot of trouble. And I was like, what's the problem? Because I'm the damn PIC here.
Yeah.
So I control when we taxi. It's just a suggestion when he starts doing stuff. Not in the Navy.
So on boat ops, as a pilot, you don't call all the shots. So when you're on the deck, the director, whoever, and they pass you off, whoever's directing you, they own your airplane. And that's simply because, dude, you can't look behind you, right? And there's all kinds of chaos going on, and they're responsible for the safe movement of the airplane. Even when you're trying to land on the air, this may shock you, Mover. You cannot take your own go around while trying to land on the carrier. You do not take your own wave off. If you do,
I mean, I know that it's still,
it's a little disheartening, right? Because every other time you're like, oh yeah, go arounds are free. It's like, no, not here. So
I can see that, because if you're, it's like dog training, right? There has to be a level of trust.
Yeah.
And
that's it. So
that's it.
So if you, and I was always the type, I would always really focus on what the director was telling me. Because number one, dude, I didn't want to go off the freaking side of the ship because I don't like heights. I definitely don't want to go in the water. Don't like sharks.
Swimming's bad.
Right. So if you gave them 100% of your attention and did what they said, I mean, they would love you for it, because dude, they're on the flight deck all day, 120 degrees, sweating, wind, noise, props spinning, breathing jet exhaust. I mean, it sucks, man. So like the least you could do as a prima donna pilot is like listen to him and that, or her, right? And that's what I always try to do. And I could see him giving 100% attention.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
Hopefully I answered your question, man. Thank you for your service, by the way.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it. It's always cool to find out that people on ships listen, like people around the world.
What, dude, honestly, what a small world.
Right.
Right. Like he said a name. He could have said, I mean, how many naval aviators are there? And I'm like, oh,
I didn't even know he said a name. Like, to be honest with you, I thought he just glazed over. That's a name?
His call sign so his last name is Cheever. His call sign is Undra, right? Underachiever.
No, see, I thought he was just being a smartass because he made
No, dude, as soon as he said it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I know that guy.